Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Murphy Poxtis, and this is Good to Great in Under 8, the weekly show for motivated professionals who want to create more business impact, greater results, and ultimately get more career satisfaction. So guys, a few days ago, I was actually having a conversation with a client, and we were talking about her boss. And she shared with me that her boss is one of those people that just never, ever provides positive feedback. He often says hurtful things to people. He takes credit for the successes of other people. And in many cases, he really bullies other people to get what he wants. And she's been the recipient of many of these things. And it's really created a couple of big challenges for her. First, she's trying to figure out how can she maintain sort of positive self-composure and not allow him to trigger her to do something she really doesn't want to do or to just shut down in general. And then secondly, she's trying to figure out how she can make him aware that he's having these behaviors and the impact that it's having on other people. And, to that point, she's also wondering, should she even bother with that, right? Is it even worth having that conversation with your boss? And so this is definitely a challenge that I know I faced multiple times when I was in corporate America. And let's be real, guys, it's hard to not be triggered when somebody else exhibits really bad behavior, and especially when they do it consistently. But here's the one thing that I do know. I know that we all own our own behavior. And only we can be triggered if we allow ourselves to be triggered, right? No one can make us do and or say anything that we don't want to do, right? So the good news is that if we want to address challenges like this, they are completely within our control. And quite honestly, they only require us to do two things. One is to be really mindful of the current situation that's happening. And then secondly, it's to practice a skill called reframing. And so when I talk about being mindful of a situation, that's all about recognizing on the spot, in the moment, that someone else is behaving badly and you're about to be triggered. And to really choose to take a stand for yourself and say, I'm not going to let this happen. I am not going to allow someone else to cause me to show up in a way I don't want to. I get to choose how I show up. So being mindful is really about making that conscious choice. And then secondly, reframing is all about getting a different perspective of the situation. And so one of the easiest ways I've found to do this is to ask yourself one simple question. How can I empathize or be more compassionate about either the person or the situation that I'm in? So as I was working with my client, with her boss, we talked about this question. And while we didn't resolve it immediately, we had some discussion about it for a few weeks, because these aren't easy questions to answer. Where we ultimately netted out was, she said, this is just how my boss always reacts. And I said, well, what if I told you he's doing the best he can, right, with what he knows? And there was kind of an aha moment there in that, wow, okay, maybe he's just really never learned how to show up differently, that's how he's worked his whole life. And when we started talking about that, she really did begin to feel a little bit more empathy for him, because maybe it's just something he's always done. So that really helped in that moment. Now, remember, I told you that she had two challenges, right? The other one was, how does she help her boss become aware of the negative impact? right, that his behavior is having. And so the first thing we talked about in this case was the degree to which she thought he was either aware of his behavior and just simply didn't care, or if he really was unaware, right, that this was happening. And she really felt that he was not aware that his behavior was having an impact on other people. So then we started talking about the degree to which they had a trusting relationship, right? Whether or not he would trust her to give feedback. And she wasn't feeling as strong in that area. So we then started talking about the degree to which someone else might be in a better position, might have a more trusting relationship with her boss, and would it be worthwhile to maybe have a conversation with that person? And so in this particular case, right, she did feel like there was someone better to have the conversation with him. And she ultimately made the commitment to have a conversation with that person. So guys, in summary, a couple of big things, right? We get to choose if we want to be aware of our bad behavior and not care. And if people do that, no matter what, we get to choose how we want to show up to those situations. And we can choose to show up to be mindful of what's happening, to be aware of what's triggering us, so that we can really show up as the leader we want to be. And then, you know, the other big thing is not everybody wants to become more self-aware. So before trying to help someone become aware of some things that they're doing that maybe aren't working for you, really think about the degree to which they'd be open to hearing the feedback and willing to make some changes. And so if you're dealing with this at all right now, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to help. Just send me an email at tracy@tracymurphycoaching.com and we will get a conversation started. So that is it for this week, guys. Have a fantastic week, and I will talk with you soon.